Today is Thursday, March 20th, 2014. This is part 5 of my mayoral campaign on the platform for becoming mayor of the city of Toronto. The first topic, and it will be broad, there's a few topics to discuss, however, today I will be getting into some very key topics, subject matters that this very relevant to ensuring to have balance and some sort of harmony within the city moving forward. I have devised a plan, we've created a plan that would support the reduction of crimes against taxi drivers, to ensuring that the cab service or taxi service in the city is able to capture revenues at a greater extent and reduction of any such or any crimes against them, to making their jobs safer moving forward. That will be discussed in greater details towards the election. However, I would like to sit down with everyone involved with overseeing regulating the cab industry to ensuring that this is applied cross-board moving forward. The second subject matter is to do with panhandling within the city. There has been, in many cases, I have observed over the last while, people coming up to me and others begging for money in the street. This is something that should not occur in the city. And I'm not trying to take away from someone's desire to give to those in need. I'm trying to prevent them from being exploited. And in a case where someone does need help, it should be provided. However, they should not be guilted into giving money, which could be used for other purposes, not really for the need itself. What I believe should occur here is working with emergency services such as the police and fire and ambulance, and perhaps even Parks and Recreation and the public libraries, in addition to the grocery chains within the city, to having individuals who do require support or assistance or to supplement themselves if they are on social assistance, to approaching the libraries, the Parks and Recreation, the police department, the fire department, and to register themselves. This is not workfare. Essentially what would occur is they would just want to see identification and register themselves. And they will be given a satchel and a broom just to go out for about an hour and pick up waste or garbage, the stuff that's strewn about in the streets. And for 1 hour's work, they will be given a gift card or a grocery card of $20 to be used at any of the participating grocery chains that will be involved in this program, to acquire the necessary food items they require moving forward. What we'll be hoping for is for corporate donors and sponsors for this program. And what it will be doing is reducing people to be put at risk that really should not necessarily be put at risk moving forward. The third on this is the issue of minimum wage. What I believe is at the provincial and the federal level, there is a bit of foot dragging in this area, and it's something that should be addressed to a greater extent, given the fact that it is something that would contribute to reducing the strain, the emotional strain, and supplying individuals with decent pay for them to look after their emotional well-being and health, as well as nourishing themselves and caring for their needs as well, given the fact that the city of Toronto is a very expensive city to reside and exist in, and is something that we should be considering moving forward to supporting individuals. It is my belief anyone who works 40 hours in a week should be paid a minimum no less than $15 an hour. As we know that minimum wages are being applied in all across sections of industry, predominantly in the service sector, where you would see people being exploited very easily for doing work, laborious work, for even less than minimum wage, and being exploited over a 40-hour week. And what we forget is a lot of these individuals don't get paid for 2 weeks and incurring costs to exist, to get to work, and so forth, prior to being paid. And essentially they are really existing within poverty, and is a constitutional violation, and is something that government should really consider. In the service industry, it is my belief, especially, say, as a clerk, grocery clerk, in working with other sections, say providers, distributors, for them to reduce some of their costs or the margins on their products, and working with the grocery chains that, following service with regarding their products or their purchases, they would provide a tip to the cashier of perhaps 10% of the purchase up to that amount. They don't really have to give anything beyond that. And what would occur is the grocery chains would expedite or provide additional services to the customer. So essentially they would have someone bag up their groceries and or run and get any other things they might necessarily need, to ensuring that their experience within the grocery store is a good experience and something that would help their business moving forward, as you would have happier employees in this area, employees more dedicated, and as such. So following a shift, 5-hour shift, say, an employee could earn anywhere of up to $80 in tips, which will supplement their income and would address the issue of minimum wage. It is now up to the federal level to now dealing with the other sections of industry where there is no service. However, at the minimum wage level, where they would have to adjust their taxes to ensuring that the person who is being paid minimum wage and working 40 hours a week is given a tax break. The companies that are paying these individuals for working full-time and for minimum wage should also provide benefits, increased benefits, either dental and or other medical, given the fact that a lot of people are exploited in the case where they're either forced to lift heavy weights throughout the day and really will break down, and you think of what most people are trying to accomplish and achieve in their lives, clearly could be affected. A family, relationships, children, and so forth, plus injuries that could be caused by working or being overworked and for the minimum wage and not being compensated accordingly for the work. I'd like to touch on the issue of also the police, Metropolitan Police, and reviewing policy, more so profiling within the city, and harassment and abuse of authority, and other incidents which could include racism as well as crimes against residents and those who are probably suffering from emotional or mental health. These are very serious concerns, and something that needs to be done moving forward to ensuring that communication and relationships with visible communities are improved, and further to try to address the issues of crimes that have been left unsolved because of distrust between the communities and the Metropolitan Toronto Police, which is really something leadership should have addressed in previous administrations. The fifth is now to increase revenues in the city. I believe that is something that should have been considered. The residents of the city have long been forced to burden a lot of costs unnecessarily, given the fact that this is a growing city, a major city, and a city that could, with the right leadership, be able to generate more revenue, be creative in generating more revenue, to reducing any burden onto the residents. Essentially, we should be reducing taxes on the residents and finding ways to increasing taxes on business, supporting the businesses so that they could pay the taxes, as well as other areas to generating revenues. And one of those is the parking. We have many parking places throughout the city. We have a lot of cars on the road, and it's something that the City of Toronto, in working with the province of Ontario, could be doing to generating revenues by issuing transponders to residents with motor vehicles. And what the transponders will do is permit you to park at any P parking or city or government-owned parking spaces for whatever duration of the time allowed, as well as to be able to be parked at any meter throughout the city in other designated sections of the city by perhaps painting the sidewalk or designating areas for them to park without worry. There are issues with safety, as I've observed with the P parking. Yes, there are lights, and I have not seen any cameras in the P parking. However, I've seen a lot of people leave their cars unattended to acquiring a ticket, which is really putting them at risk predominantly, and a lot of women themselves have been put through into this situation, which is this transponder will avoid. Essentially, you would enter the parking facility or location, close your doors, and go about your ways. The individuals who are overseeing or governing the parking would be able to monitor and be able to track, observe, and be able to confirm that the transponder you have is a good transponder. If not, you will be ticketed, and a fine could be something anywhere up to $100, or if not more, for not having a proper transponder, and becomes a judicial matter moving forward. Now, I'd like to touch lastly on a matter that we really do need to work on, is to having more bike lanes throughout the city. This is a beautiful city, and this initiative to increasing bike lanes will promote more fitness, more people being out on the road, riding around safely, and by addressing a lot of the congestion in the city. As we well know, that congestion is not a good thing to have, especially on ourselves or beings. So it would affect and have the same effect within the city, such as this. We should be incorporating more one-way streets, an example being King Street and Dundas, and between it is Queen Street, where at King Street, from a certain part of the city, should be one-way, heading in direction of east bound, and Dundas heading westbound, being one-way for a good stretch. Queen Street being two-way, remaining the same, which would permit for emergency services to be able to get to and from quickly, as it would have designated lanes, as well as transit being able to get to and from more effectively without traffic impeding them and slowing them out, keeping them on time and on schedule. And northbound, I believe, from on Young Street, Front Street to on Young from Front, could be also designated one way. The direction is something that City Council would have to approve, and the other direction would be coming down either Bay or University, moving forward, to permitting for transit to be able to address scheduling needs, as well as allowing for people to be able to get to and from more effectively and more efficiently throughout the city as well, moving forward. So I end this, hopefully, that this would resonate itself through the residents of the city, for them to now be able to see and to be able to select and choose the right mayor for the city of Toronto.